Yes, I know, I've said it all along that fire risks and insurance will be the two things that eventually put an end to the highly risky practice of charging EVs in underground apartment car parks. Think back to the EV fire in an apartment block in Seoul, South Korea a while ago, when a Mercedes randomly caught fire. It wasn't even charging, and destroyed 800 cars and put 100 families into temporary accommodation. Insurance companies and fire authorities are already well aware of the risks of charging in confined spaces like this, and, in New South Wales at least, the fire department has advised that a high-efficiency sprinkler system be installed, something that could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But this doesn't stop self-important virtue-signalling EV owners from thinking they can just park their shiny new EV in a parking space underneath their apartment block and hook it up to a regular wall socket. And are shocked I tell you, when the owner's corporation refuses to allow it or requires significant expenditure to upgrade the electricity supply. And providing the necessary power to the car is the least of their problems, because that doesn't address the fire regulations or the insurance. If the car were to catch fire and destroy the building, if the insurance company had not approved the charger or even been aware of it, they could legitimately avoid paying out on the claim. We'll look at the tragic story of a thwarted Tesla owner first, and then, back in the real world, where fire risks and insurance will determine whether EVs can be charged or not. And no amount of bleating from the evangelists will change that. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer, now Sydney-based YouTuber. Be sure to follow me on the usual socials for more content, links to the description, and please make sure you're subscribed and have enabled all notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos. And if you'd like to support this channel, why not buy me a coffee? Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Let's first go to the Sydney Morning Herald, the Australian equivalent of The Guardian, which tells you all you need to know, which takes up the case of one of these entitled EV owners. MGUY bought a car. Then there was a $2,000 cost to charge it. When Miguel Froelich, interesting mix of Spanish and German going on there, bought his first electric vehicle, he was thrilled to be driving a car that wouldn't contribute to pollution and would be so much cheaper to run. But then, when he asked his apartment building if he could charge his Tesla on one of the no fewer than 3 power points in his garage and attach a meter to it so he could refund the cost, he drove into a blank wall. They said no, said Froelich, 39, an environmental planner who's been a renter in the apartment block on Sydney's northern beaches for the past 3 years. Instead, they said I should install a 4th power point in the garage and directly connect it to my electricity meter. It was ridiculous. In addition, I would then have to pay for a lawyer to draft a bylaw to allow it to happen, cover the cost of holding a Strata meeting to have it approved, and pay for the installation by a qualified electrician. The total cost I worked out would be over $2,000, more than the cost of 4 years' worth of electricity to power my car. Shocked and appalled, Froelich is urging New South Wales politicians to introduce state government policy guidelines for apartment buildings to give their residents the right to charge EVs. Shocked and appalled, right to charge! Yeah, forget about the legitimate rights of other apartment owners not to have their safety compromised by one arrogant twit with a Tesla. Froelich's building strata company, Robinson Strata Management, did not respond to this masthead's approaches for comment about the decision. This masthead? God, the Sydney Morning Herald is so up itself. This is so frustrating, and I know I won't be the only person in this kind of position, Froelich said of the DY building with just 16 units. EVs are the way of the future. Brackets, they're not, close brackets. But I don't think there's enough pressure on apartment buildings to install chargers or to allow residents to use power points. This problem will only increase the more people in apartments buy EVs. It'll cost me less than $30 a month in electricity to charge my car, but now I'm going to have to go to shopping malls and car parks instead of doing it in my own building, or pay so much money which doesn't make sense when I'm only on a 1-year lease. I can hardly believe it. Blimey. Well, for starters, the sockets in an apartment car park are usually run off the common electricity supply and are for general use like pressure washers and vacuum cleaners, and are run from a separate communal electricity meter and split up between the owners equally. But if one owner starts drawing tens of kilowatt hours every night to charge his Tesla, that could add thousands of dollars to the bill, and that cost should be borne by the individual car owner, not the owner's corporation. So it's entirely proper that they asked him to install a separate power point linked to that apartment's meter. Apparently not for this Tesla owner who thinks his neighbours should pay for the privilege of charging his car. And this article doesn't even mention the issues of fire risk, sprinkler systems and insurance, such as the power of the net zero mind virus on its poor victims. But the Fire and Rescue New South Wales position statement on EVs and EV charging equipment is, quite frankly, astonishing because of the level of sanity and common sense it contains, compared to the huffing and puffing of a few haughty Tesla owners. This position statement is based on FRNSW's review of literature found to date on the risks of EV and EV charging. Whilst the incident rate may currently be low, the potential consequences when the lithium-ion battery pack of an EV is involved in a fire, whether or not the fire originated from it, are not fully understood and present a different challenge to firefighters, occupant life safety, building integrity and environmental impacts when compared to an internal combustion engine vehicle ICEV. Some of the differences that need to be accounted for include the potential for a rapidly developing fire, jet-like flames, longer burn times, and the potential for vapor cloud explosions. The failure of lithium-ion batteries during a fire is unique and differs from the typical combustion process of other combustible materials, and this difference also needs to be better understood and considered. The research and testing undertaken on EVs is considered to be quite limited, and FRNSW consider that there are still considerable knowledge gaps. It is evident from incidents that involve lithium-ion batteries that the managing of these incidents can be protracted, and there is also the potential for secondary ignition of battery cells even after initial extinguishment actions. This position statement directs building proponents to the AFAC position as appropriate guidance in the design and certification of buildings that intend to incorporate EV parking and/or EV charging equipment. AFAC is the Australasian Fire Authorities Council, and I will link to their paper in the description together with a link to the New South Wales position paper. And we haven't even touched on the subject of insurance, which is only just starting to catch up with the risk from EVs. In Korea, they banned EVs charged above 90% from underground car parks altogether. But I guarantee that if insurers start to see events like this happening due to unauthorised charging in a car park without the appropriate fire suppression systems, they will avoid paying out. And those same companies may make it a condition of the policy that if EV charging is to take place in a property, then it must have the appropriate sprinkler system installed. And that may be a cost that the majority of owners are not prepared to pay. With so many living in cities now and in apartment blocks, the idea that EVs can replace regular cars for most people is exposed as pure fantasy. Yes, EVs may satisfy a very narrow use case for a small number of people, but for people living in apartments, the luxury of charging an EV in the underground car park is one that is, thankfully for the rest of us, a long way off.